Yesterday, a bridge called the Nomad Bridge got brutally hacked, and all the funds, over 100 million in funds, were completely wiped out of the bridge. And this affected Cardano quite severely. I made an urgent update video yesterday, and right now we can go ahead and look at the aftermath and how $40+ million worth of liquidity has been taken out from Cardano's total value locked, and see why that is. Essentially, yesterday from the Nomad Bridge, over $150 million was drained, and this is a very chaotic hack because basically one person, they got in, they found an exploit, and after that, everyone else just seemingly saw what it was and copy and pasted the exact thing, put in their own address, and off they were with whatever funds they want. There was some white hats in here, but it was more or less a free-for-all once people figured out that the exploit was easily to replicate, and all you had to do is change a couple of lines, those lines being where your address is, and you could get away with taking funds from the bridge. Now, I'm not going to go in depth, all the technical parts of how this happened. If you want to read this, I will leave the thread link down in the description, but basically, a routine upgrade marked 0 hash as a valid root, whatever that means, and this had the effect for allowing messages to be spoofed on the Nomad Bridge, and attackers abused this, copy-pasted transactions, and quickly drained that bridge in a frenzied free-for-all. Now, on the Cardano side of things, you could see here, if we zoom in, our TVL before this was around 165 million. We're now sitting at 118 million in TVL because of the DEX on Cardano Wing Riders having a lot of Nomad-backed assets, and these basically being worth nothing because the IOU that they are based off of has been drained from the bridge. So this is not to say that 50 million of USD value was basically lost from Cardano retail investors on this, but rather $50 million worth of liquidity has been taken off the DEX and has resulted in a large TVL loss. Now, a lot of retail investors who had any amounts of money inside of these things are not going to be doing so hot, and it's not a good thing. So please be careful going forward, but also remember that there is risks using bridges, and nothing in this space is going to be risk-free. Ringrunners has reported on this, basically saying that the MAD assets are all impacted and they're going to be discontinued. Basically, the project had 333,000 in bridge stables from a whitelist sale due to bad judgment call of a team member. Not really sure what this means. If the team member swapped 258k of these, or if they just decided to not discontinue swaps. But basically, because of a bad judgment call from a team member, 258,000, so majority of this whitelist sale was swapped over, and the small proceeds left of 76k ADA will be used for the user loss compensations where possible. Essentially, the aftermath on the Cardano side of things is that a lot of people were upset, and rightly so, because they lost any value they had in the Nomad-backed assets, and that's not good. You don't want to lose your money, obviously. So the IOUs are basically invalid because the other side of the IOU, the wrapped assets, which are really IOUs, isn't there. It's on the bridge and they can't retrieve it because someone else has taken it. Now, also keep in mind that DEXs probably shouldn't be able to just turn off swaps, right? It's interesting enough to realize, but obviously it can help in cases, but truly decentralized DEXs probably shouldn't be able to do this because there is places where they can take control and take advantage of their users. Now, I'm not saying Wing Riders is doing this, and I'm not saying anyone is doing this. I'm just saying it's possible, and rather than have a possibility here, better to have a clear cut, how does this work? How do transactions get batched? And can we do it in a decentralized way? And bridging over from that, I wanted to talk about this little piece from Liquid Labs, essentially commenting on something that Optum Finance has said in relation to the Nomad exploit. They're just thinking that it is weird to not have decentralized batching and ways of processing transactions on a decentralized exchange, a DEX, in a decentralized way, because that's the whole point of it. And in response to this, Wing Riders has halted the trading of the affected pairs on the Nomad Bridge. Makes sense. It's a good reason. But also, what does this mean for the future of decentralized exchanges, and how are they going to operate in the future? I know a lot of DEXs are working on the decentralization side of things afterwards, just putting the DEX out there. which is fine. That's okay. But having a concentration of power is anti-ethical in a way to the spirit and of crypto and Cardano, and it's undermining the core tenets of a decentralized exchange. Instead of limiting who can consume certain UTXOs, TX chaining allows anyone to do so by having a system for consuming UTXOs that haven't yet made it onto the chain, essentially creating a virtual chain of transactions without the need for batching them. Liquid Finance, or Liquid Labs rather, one of the very exciting projects I'm looking forward to coming to mainnet this year, hopefully, is just commenting on this and saying that they're building deterministic batching that doesn't, by default, rely on any trusted SPOs, and it's completely decentralized. The goal will be anyone can run it who can run a non-staking Cardano node can run the batchers and process transactions. This means a base layer of batching that requires no trusted third party, aka a decentralized way of batching transactions off to boot. At the end of the day, we can't go back and undo this exploit, and hopefully no one lost too much money in stablecoins backed by the mad pairs. I really hope people didn't, but I know people did, so it is just very unfortunate. And also, Cardano's TVL is down a lot in representation of this, people trying to get their liquidity out quickly and claim their ADA back from the pools, especially if they're farming on them. So best of luck to everybody out there. Please be safe. I hope you guys are doing okay. And that's it for today's video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stake to Jack, stake pool to earn passive on your ADA, and I'll see you later.